Hey there everyone, welcome back to Adam's Kitchen. So this week on the menu we have some amazing dry rub ribs. So let's get started by assembling our ingredients. So we need some brown sugar, salt and pepper, smoked paprika, mustard powder, cinnamon, garlic and onion powder, and some celery salt. Now you might notice in the background I have my mortar and pestle. That's because I actually don't have any celery salt, and also I don't have any mustard powder. So what we're going to do is we're going to use my mortar and pestle to make the powder and the celery salt. So now for my mortar and pestle, I have some dry rice that I always keep in there, and the rice just helps it to stay dry. It's been kind of moist lately. The moisture, the humidity has been pretty high. So let's get started by adding about 1 tablespoon of salt to 3 teaspoons of celery seeds. And this part is just basically just mashing it up using the mortar and pestle. The stone inside is kind of really rough and jagged, so it makes it really easy to kind of make it into a fine powder. And you can make it as fine as you want, just it depends on how much time and how much effort you put into rubbing it in. See, as you can see, it's already broken the seeds up, and the salt's helping that as well, but we want to go for more of a powder, so I'm going to keep going with the mortar and pestle. And as you see, the table is shaking. That's just because it's a lot of effort putting into it. Plus, the mortar and pestle is solid stone, so it's pretty heavy. So I've gone about maybe less than 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes at it, just working at it. And we pretty much got the consistency we want. Now, a lot of it is going to stick inside the stone, and you can use just a regular brush. Preferably I use like a rubber brush, just because the typical brush you use for like barbecues and such, the kind of like hair type brush, I find that it retains moisture a lot. It retains the oil, which can sometimes get into the mortar and pestle, which is difficult to get out. So now let's move on to this mustard seeds, and I'll give you a little bit of a top-down view so you can see the action that's going on inside. And again, we're just going to go for a nice powder. We're not going to go for any kind of big chunks. We want to kind of get as close to a mustard powder as possible, a fine powder. And as you can see, there's a little bit of moisture in the seeds itself, so it's sticking to the sides. But that's no problem. You can just use a brush again to kind of free it up. So that's basically the powder we're going for. And because it is freshly ground, it does have more moisture. Well, now that we have the mustard powder and the celery salt ready, we can combine all the ingredients together to make the dry rub. So you have our brown sugar, smoked paprika, cinnamon, salt and pepper, the celery salt, and of course the mustard powder. And if you want to make it spicy, you can add some cayenne pepper or any kind of spicy powder that you like. And that's pretty much all we're going to have to do. There's really not much of a trick to making a dry rub. It's not as complicated as people might think it is when you think about it. So here are the ribs. They've been sitting out not for too long, maybe 5 minutes as I was mixing everything together. And all we're going to do is just press it into the dry rub as much as possible. Now, these ribs were cut when I bought them, so I didn't really have a chance to keep them intact. Normally, I wouldn't cut the ribs until after baking them or putting them on the grill. But in this case, when I bought them, they were already cut and they were on sale, so I couldn't really argue or object with that. So again, just try to get as many areas and all sides of it. I don't do the bottom just because there's really no meat there, but you can if you want. We have extra. I guess the flavor could get into the bottom as well. But the most important parts are the top and sides. And try to stick to it as much as possible. Press into it. Don't worry about if some of it comes off, because we could just go back at it again. So to continue the process with each rib, and you can see there's going to be some dry rub left over that we can go back over some missed spots that we might have had in the other ribs. Now I see this one has kind of a couple of missed spots, so we use the leftover rub just to patch up any parts that were missed. Now, as you can see, I'm really trying to get as much of the dry rub on as possible, but if you want to keep it lighter, that's fine too. You don't have to go as crazy as I have with this one, trying to get every little nook and cranny of the rib. Now for these ribs, we're going to be grilling them. We're going to be starting on the grill, but we're going to finish in the oven. This is more or less just to get some texture and to get some kind of grill marks on here. And I noticed I've been using the griddle a lot recently in the videos, and my wife has been complaining about it as well. She's getting kind of tired of seeing grill marks and everything, so next video I promise no more griddle. Now the griddle is on pretty high heat, I'd say medium high. And it's just because we're trying to mostly just get the score marks on it. We're not really trying to cook it very much on here. We're just trying to get some base color and kind of lock in the flavor, lock in the seasoning, lock in the juices. We're more or less just searing it on the grill. And we have a pretty good sear. Nice grill lines too. So we'll just repeat this on all sides. So it looks really, really good. I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks. Alright, so now I'm going to transfer it to my baking pan. So about 20 minutes and I should be enough to finish cooking it all. Alright, let's take a look, and wow, these came out looking great. And not only do they look great, but they were actually really, really tasty. I really liked it a lot. So I hope you liked that, and if you give it a try yourself, please let me know how it came out for you. If you made any changes to the recipe, also please share that with me and let me know how things came out. Thanks everyone for watching, and please like and subscribe this video and share it with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. See you next week.